is to approve the minutes of the special meeting that was held on September 17th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. The work plan discussion for the 2026 work plan will be presented by Community Development Director Stapa.
Okay, so this will be our first draft of the 2026 work plan. You'll see it's somewhat similar to the 2025 work plan. At the next meeting, we'll go through the 2025 work plan and give an update on all the action items that we've completed. But essentially, we just wanted everyone in the commission to take a look at this and see if there's anything that they want to add. We can talk about that tonight, and then we'll create a final draft for the next meeting. So we have it broken up with the goals. These are the same goals as last year, same purpose, but when we look at the project description and the action items, they're gonna change slightly. So we group them in: assist city staff and city council with marketing efforts for city-owned properties. This is just basically all our city-owned property disposition. And as you know, we're working through the 180-acre site, through the Urban Land Institute Technical Assistance Panel. So the idea is that hopefully by Q2, that project will be done this year, but hopefully by Q2, we'll be able to start marketing the parcel. By at least the first quarter, purchase agreement for the former fire station Parks building will be signed. If there is a need for environmental cleanup, we'll work on grants. We've already talked to MPCA in Washington County. We worked through the phase 1 and phase 2 with them. They've paid for both. Review city-owned property and develop a disposition plan. So this is something that came up last year, and what we want to do through our GIS is look at every publicly owned property in the city and then evaluate whether we should keep them, or basically create a plan for each property and understand how we're using it. Sometimes the Valley Branch will ask us if we want to take on some property too. So we want to understand like what they own, what the county owns, and just do a full evaluation of that for the second quarter. Sometimes we'll have residents call us, seeing if they could purchase property too. That's another reason why we, instead of taking it one by one, working on a plan. And then create and implement a plan for Old City Hall. Next week, I'm gonna be presenting at the workshop options for the Old City Hall. So after that, there'll be a good time to further talk about what that could look like. Whether it's to keep it or to sell it. There's basically 6 different options that I'll talk about next week.
With the disposition plan, from a staff perspective, how do you see that in terms of the EDA's role versus council versus potentially planning commission as well? Because I assume there's the economic lens, there's the planning standpoint, there's obviously the 2050 coming out soon as well. How do you see those interplaying, and who would maybe take the first chop at the bit?
I think we would, start to do the work internally through GIS and come back to the EDA first, and then also involve the planning commission. Ultimately, the decision will be made by the council. But I think everybody would definitely be involved, because some of the land, like you said, may not have a high economic purpose, so it maybe is better under even like parks too, like ship parks. We would want them to take a look at it also.
And we'll have full confidence that GIS and everything we have, that we will have 100% knowledge of any easements that might have been from 1890, or like some of the utility and drainage easements that maybe we're not even aware of. Like, we're fully confident that we're able to collect every single part for all those parcels.
We would collect the parcels that are owned. So the easements that would be challenging. So that's something that we would have to go one by one.
Okay.
And to that level, I don't know how many properties there are. So like, if we find that there's multiple properties, we would have to come back, talk to the council, because that could get pretty intensive in terms of trying to figure out easements because I know for some properties, we would need legal to research easements. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I anticipate there might be more than a few where legal's gonna have to look into it, especially where there's ones that were supposed to be transferred from HOA to the city and maybe weren't. And for all intents and purposes, we think they were, but they weren't.
I'd like to ask just a rough estimate. Are there dozens or hundreds of properties to be considered?
I don't have the answer to that. I think I did when I pulled the GIS, I think there were about 50. I think there were about 50.
Okay, thank you.
And a lot of those are gonna be your retention ponds and the easements on the outlots for developments. There are gonna be a lot of those.
Is there any plans to purchase more city property, like as we think about future development?
I am not aware of any.
Okay.
Say more. I
Yeah,
mean,
would that be something to consider as part of our plan and work next year? Like to think ahead about, is there city property we should consider purchasing?
I think we can add that as a item that we can discuss at the next meeting in
Yeah.
terms of, if you want to come up with a scope, you can also like call me, we could discuss
Yeah.
kind of more in detail what that looks like, but, basically it could be an item where looking at strategic locations that the city could acquire
Yeah. Yep.
for some specific purpose, I would think.
Cool, yeah, I think it's
And
worth
if-
considering, so.
If that's what you're referring to and kind of put a quick plan together, we can identify some areas.
Okay, yeah.
So collaborating with communications coordinator to make effective website, social updates, that's ongoing, right? So Kathy's here now, she's our communications coordinator. Also, we talked to Kathy about posting 4 business stories a year to spotlight local businesses. That's something that she's looking into for next year, just to see if anybody, any businesses want to be spotlighted, right? So she hasn't reached out, but we'll see. There may be more. We'll have to figure that out as we go along.
and when we say post, we're explicitly and only speaking online, or we're talking in the annual mailings that we do as well? What are we thinking?
I think it could be like a post in an online story, like, and maybe some social media posts. It may be even a story we were discussing, like maybe it's not a specific business, but what's new in the old village, and then highlighting old business, like the businesses that are existing, some new businesses, and it may just be more of a village post to kind of tell people about, especially if it's around restaurants, right? And working with the Greater Stillwater Chamber of Commerce, just sharing communications, that would be more social. If they have events, we can share those. If we have events, they can share ours. Keep outreach material up to date, keep our maps and projects up to date. So the community development map that we have right now is a PDF. I'm looking at creating a story map, a GIS story map, and updating that. So that's something we'll work on next year. And then we're continuing just to get a better list of businesses. Just try to update that as best as possible when they come in for change of use through planning and permitting and also fire.
Question on the Chamber of Commerce. Has Lake Elmo ever considered starting their own Chamber of Commerce?
I don't believe Lake Elmo has.
No, it's the Stillwater Area Chamber of Commerce, so they effectively are supposed to advocate. If you're a member, you can be a member for the Stillwater Area Chamber of Commerce if you're a business in Lake Elmo, Bayport, I think Marina on the St. Croix, those places. So I have never heard of somebody trying to create a Chamber of Commerce strictly for Lake Elmo.
Well, yeah, it's called a Greater Stillwater Chamber, so
Yeah.
being a member in Lake Elmo, they do definitely do a good job of taking care of Lake Elmo people
Okay.
who sign up.
Cool. Just curious.
Jason, under housekeeping, it says you're going to make updates to the EDA handbook. Is there an EDA handbook to update?
There is an EDA handbook. I know Ashley's been looking into it. I don't know if you have
Yeah, we
specific.
sent it out, I think at the beginning of the year. But we just wanted to make some updates to keep it more current.
I haven't.
I think you do have it. I'll make sure you
Okay,
have it,
all
though.
right. An electronic note, I assume.
Yep.
I probably do have it, but I just didn't recognize it. Thank you.
No problem.
Are we still getting from Washington County, from their EDA, obviously business information as well in terms of some of the data? Not necessarily the new businesses per se,
The
but
CDA?
the CDA. Yeah, is that information flow still occurring? Have we had any new asks for them, or is that pretty static at this point.
We talk to them from time to time. We have a CEA agreement with them for, I'm gonna forget the program, but it's essentially, let me see, it's on our website. So we received $47,000, $48,000. So instead of running a program internally, because there's gonna be admin costs, it's through the CDA. And if you look here, I have it pulled up, the website, it's the CDA, it's the Home Improvement Loan Program. So our funds go to this program, and residents in Lake Elmo can take advantage of this program. We asked them for an update last week in terms of, has anybody used this, applied, what do the numbers look like?
Is there anything we could do so businesses could have something like this?
Not for that funding stream, that's
Well,
specific, but they do
Like, is
have,
there different funding?
they definitely have programs. I would have to look specifically, but that's something I could look into and get back to you on. So we also had this connection with, through our EDA website when we made the updates last year. So a lot of the information that we could have created, we just realized that the county already has all the information that we're asked to kind of look into. So I'll look into it if you have specific like redevelopment questions. Or
Yeah, well, what first got me interested in the EDA, so I was told that the EDA kind of has a budget and then businesses can apply for a grant to improve their space. For example, at the coffee shop on the end, they want to build a deck. Well, they're renting, so they don't want to invest in that. And then the owners don't want to necessarily do that for the business. But if there was a way that businesses could do improvements, that kind of helps aesthetically the whole town.
Yeah, so that sounds like a facade improvement grant. Those are pretty typical. I'll look to see if they offer it. So have property acquisition, it's the one thing that,
Is there anything we as a commission can do for more community outreach? Nina, you bring up a good point of like, just being a listening ear for businesses in our community to hear what trials, tribulations, what positive things they have to say. Like, is there a forum for that today, or is there something we should be thinking about doing to hear their concerns and considerations and ideas? Open to suggestions, thoughts, if that's something we want to consider as part of our outreach and work plan next year.
We did a survey, a business retention and expansion survey about 3 years ago. And I have to say, we asked businesses to give a half hour of someone's time to talk to us. And a number of us went out and
Cool.
interviewed people. But I have to say, there were very few respondents who were willing to
Okay.
talk to us. Everybody's too busy.
Yeah,
If you had an open forum, you could say,
Yeah.
come and tell us what you think is good or bad about how things are being done. That's a possibility. You could do it as an online survey. I think it's a good idea to reach out again.
yeah, maybe re-upping that survey, right? Just so we stay appraised of our community and what the businesses are, what the landscape is.
Well, I think that's not a bad idea, because when we did start that, the EDA had just, like, renewed. There wasn't an EDA. So people didn't really recognize it if people were knocking on their, if me and Tony were knocking on doors and Charles and Jeff. It's like,
No,
what are you
there's
guys?
Nina and Tony.
Like, who are you guys? So maybe now that it's been strong for a couple of years, it would be more well-received and people would take the time.
Yeah, okay. I'd suggest adding that, something about that outreach as part of our work plan next year.
so is the outreach to existing business owners and like
Yeah, yeah, existing business owners, and maybe we can figure out what that looks like here as we go ahead. Like, again, is it a survey, is it something more in-depth? Is it an open forum?
Well, one of the questions we asked is what business would help your business? So that could help, knowing what businesses want could help with the other portion of what should the city buy or what should we do with City Hall? What types of businesses should we attract?
Yeah.
One of the, out of the roughly dozen and a half people who responded, I think the main issue was they wanted to understand better what the rules were and who they would have to talk to at the city. So we recommended that we hire a community development director to be the contact person for businesses, and sure enough, council agreed, and look. So something really valuable came out of it, actually.
So I think another thing to add too is maybe talking with the CDA, doing maybe a workshop locally about everything that they offer, right? And then have them come at some point, organize that. It could be resources for existing businesses or new businesses too.
Yeah,
Okay.
we good, yeah, we wanna have a good business community, I want voices to be heard, and to make sure we're responsive to that, and not working in a bubble, right? So I think that'd be really cool.
Well, and in light of the fact that there were many who didn't respond to the surveys when you guys were on site, I mean, I know you were writing down, Jason, the idea of a forum, where that's, obviously, we have an open forum with every council meeting anyways. If Washington County has experience with other cities where they do a quarterly or twice a year type thing for, obviously, you're starting from scratch, and the first time it might be 2 businesses. Is that a norm with communities as they're trying to build up the business culture, where there's just a biannual get-together to talk about the business environment? I have no idea. Maybe it's a terrible idea, but I'd be curious what the CDA has thoughts of, you know, what's happening in Forest Lake, in Marina on St. Croix, in, you know, Lino Lakes.
Just the amount of new businesses you think since that time, and how the community's changed, certainly by me on the south side of town, my kids go to Milestones, you know,
Yeah.
right across, so it hits home.
I'd like to add one thing. I'm still interested in doing something with the closed landfill. And we are going to have a discussion at council about that possibility, and I cannot predict what the outcome will be. But I'd like to have at least a spot open on this, and it could be part of the discussion of review city-owned property, or it could be part of brownfield grants or something like that. But it's just to keep that in mind, that it would really be wonderful to get some value out of that.
I think under city property planning, we'll just have a placeholder for landfill, and then
Yeah,
after
yeah.
the meeting,
Yeah, development,
can change.
you know, how to develop the landfill into something valuable.
okay. All right.
Are there any other comments from the members on this plan, or are we okay with the comments so far?
It seems like
Do
it
you have anything?
covers a lot of stuff that we should be covering.
Okay, well, if there's no further comments, then thank you. Thank you, Community Development Director Stapa. The next, we're going on to the communication updates.
So we'll just start, the former fire station Parks Building RFP, you know, this group is part of the process, but tonight it's going to the council. So that's really the only update that we have. We just wanted to give you that update in case you weren't aware that it's tonight. The Urban Land Institute TAP, hopefully you've received an email asking for your participation. They they're creating the panel, they have one more panelist. But there are a range of developers, brokers, planners, designers, some public finance public finance specialist. So they're putting that together. I believe they're looking for one more broker, if I'm correct in saying that. Just to remember, 50% of this was paid for by the Washington County CDA for this process. And then the TAP itself is scheduled from October 22nd through the 24th. I believe the stakeholder meeting is October 23rd here at City Hall. So I'd like everybody to participate that's received the email. And if you have anyone else that you want to add to the stakeholder list, send it to us as soon as possible.
Do you know what how should we be prepared for the interviews, with the 23rd, I think, in the morning? What are they looking for? Are they
Well,
from
it depends,
us?
it depends on, so like, the easiest way for me to answer is depends on the stakeholder, right? So our engineering team is part of the stakeholder group. They want to know the history of what's been there before, what are some of the challenges. For the EDA, it's just your personal background, what's been discussed at the board, at the EDA. Anything that you want to bring up, anything that you have knowledge of in the past that you think would be good. They just want input from all the board members and, any history there. I mean, I'm sure some of you have been here when there was the other applicant. They would want to know the history of that. We've also sent numerous documents to them. What is it called? The briefing book? So they have a briefing book that has all the old documents from the RFP that was done before, that whole process. So just bring your experience, I guess, is the best thing I could say in terms of anything, any vision that you have, anything you think would be better for that site.
Can you recall offhand who all of the stakeholders are that have been invited?
I was just going to say, it's in the staff report, but we just got their bios recently.
That's the panelists, but the stakeholders.
Oh, the stakeholders. They're going to be community members. I think I have it written down.
We have an Excel sheet of,
Yeah, public sector, private sector, local business owners. That's some of you. And then any institutions or anything that's nearby that we could identify for the meeting.
but it's planning commission, parks, EDA, council. That was the first group. And then some people from Connect Lake Elmo. We asked them to send it out if they think other people should be included. The subdivision to the east was identified, so hopefully they're aware. Anybody else you recommend?
The county?
The county is on there, yep,
All right.
the county's on there.
We talked about Oakdale too.
Oakdale's on there, yes, so
Okay.
the community development director for Oakdale,
Good deal.
and some other, they're trying to locate the owners of the site for the big development in Oakdale to see if they can get some information from them too.
We have an HOA, I'm sure, so get plugged into that.
Yep, we have HOA members on there
All
as
right,
well.
good deal.
We can share that list after the meeting, we can share it tomorrow, you can see.
No, this meeting is scheduled for three days. Do you have a schedule somewhere of what hours and places?
We do, I think we could send that tomorrow, do you? Yeah.
Thank you.
So if you have any comments about this, just send it to us as soon as possible, so we can add stakeholders or anything else that you wanna add to this. Any questions?
How long do you think it'll take for them to provide the report back to us? A couple
They were
months?
talking about, there's two different ways to do it. I think instead of doing the immediate report out, I think this was discussed, we're gonna wait a couple, do you know the date that was?
I think it's, I think we have it set for November 18th, but I can update you.
Okay.
You ready for the next item?
The next item is number 5, upcoming meeting on December 2nd.
We actually had the GIS update, so,
Oh, that's part of these communications, yes. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, so, working with Bolton and Mink, we worked with their staff to create a GIS and maps and data page, and on this page, we just had the printable paper maps. But now we have at least two public Parks and Trails
Trail map,
map,
that's cool.
Parks and Trail map, and then public parcel viewer. It's similar to the county viewer. I'm sure you've seen the county viewer, but it has all the local city information too. So I'm gonna zoom in just in the village area. And you can see here that it lists all the plats. This is coming from the county. This is all connected with the county's GIS, so when the county updates this map, it automatically updates ours. This is utility data from the city side, so it shows sanitary sewer pipe, storm pipe, and water pipe. It's real basic, but it's great to, when we work with developers, that they're able to see where the closest utilities are. And then we have obviously our parcels. If you click on a parcel right here,
Cool.
it's gonna pull up the information, tax history links, assessor links, plat, if there's an old plat. And then obviously, this is all the information, like the county, we're just pulling that information. It's connected to the county, like I said, so if it updates, we don't have to monitor that. Address points, shows all the addressing. Then we have a planning section. This is really good. We have the shoreline buffer, so you can see if you're in shoreline, you can look at the subdivisions that are there. We have MUSA boundary with phasing. So green means go, red means don't go. Let's see, zoning. That's the zoning layer. So, you know, future land use map too, so you can see that also.
Let's see.
Let's see, some of this is county information with like easements you're asking about. I don't know if that's all the easements, but there's some. Then we asked for the parks and trails because this is requested, so you can see the trails. There's a legend too, right here, tell you what the trails mean. Let's see, get back. Then parks and trails, the parks. Turn the parks on. I think this is, I believe it's only, well, let me check. No, it's also the county. Marty requested irrigation zones, so people can see what irrigation zone they're in. School districts, that's just pulling from the county. The watershed district, some people don't know, but part of it is not in Valley Branch. Let's see, anything else? That's about it. But it puts all that information all in one application, which is great because the county just doesn't have our local planning and zoning shoreline buffer information. So this is a really good tool. This is a tool that's now public, and we use it when we talk to developers or anybody, residents can use it. It's on our website.
And when it's pulling from the county, it's taking every data point of the county and then adding on top of that. It's not as if it's taking some of the county info.
Yeah, so we've looked at the county map. You can connect in the back end, and then you populate your map and then add your layers. So if there's other layers that we're missing from the county that you'd want to see, you let me know. If there's local information that you'd want to see that we have, we could also add that to this map. And some of the
Yes.
additions would take less than a day. I mean, the person doing it couldn't do, I used to do GIS work, you could add like a layer in 10 minutes, right? So.
That's fantastic. So because obviously there's property sales all the time and it updates on the county level whenever they get the ECRV for it.
Yeah.
Does that mean this is then doing like is it literally live or is it doing like a nightly jobs batch or is it?
It refreshes, so when they're refreshed, ours would just refresh.
That is fantastic.
Just so you know, I mean, it all lives in a folder and you can pull their links. And when
Yep.
you make your map, you're just pulling the same link that they have. So it's connected back to their database.
That's really cool.
Is this on our city website now?
It is now. I believe we released it, I don't know if it was a week or two ago.
So I could go home and pull that up and see all what you just showed.
Spent a lot of time on it, yep.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Grab a beer, sit in the chair.
Wow.
So the public parks and trails app, how is that one different?
That just has I think it's similar, but it's just pared down, so you're not looking at all the other
You
information.
know, the parcels basically.
Park Reserve, it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to look at this, and I mean, I assume this is gonna be presented at the Parks Commission too, if it hasn't already. If they have any comments, they can amend these too.
So in terms of internal policies and procedures, I assume it's already documented within staff. Every time there's a new DA that goes through and we start doing subdivisions, it's already identified whose role it is to communicate to Bolton and Mank, hey, we need to update the map because there's a new trail that's going in on these streets for the first phase of this development.
Yeah, so, I mean, most of it was done by Focus, a lot of it, so that's still being done through Bolton and Mank. We're still processing through Sophia, any updates and making sure they get updated.
All right, thanks.
So this was a work plan item, just in case you don't recall, so we'll check this one off the list. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you very much. This is going to be really nice for the people of the community to take a look. I've used the county one quite often, but it's nice to have the additional information. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the next item is the number 5, upcoming meeting.
Nothing to report there, this is December 2nd, 2025. We'll bring the updates to the work plan and we'll do a review of the 2025 work plan.
Does anyone have any comments about the next meeting? Please put it on your calendar. We'll be here. I want to move that we adjourn if there's no further business.
Second?
Second. Anybody object? Nope.
Thank you.
Meeting is closed.
Play with the app. Pretty cool.
Web traffic on there is about to increase drastically tonight. There's gonna be at least 7 more people on there.
Yeah.